This week on Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk, we take a look at USCS Sprint Car action at Lavonia. We travel to Greenville Pickens Speedway for late model action, and we talk about the World Crown 300 with former winner Micky Cain. All that coming up next here on Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. Hi folks, welcome to Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. I'm Brandon Reed. Thanks for being with us. We've got a lot of action to bring to you this week, so let's get started with today's headlines. Tim Crawley dominates the USCS 360 Sprint Cars for the win at Lavonia Speedway. Anthony Anders overcomes the loss of his power steering to hang on for the late model win at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Spencer Davis edges Davey Coble to score the Pro Late Model win at Fairgrounds Speedway, Nashville. And Austin Smith grabs his first career Super Late Model victory at Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia. For more on these and other stories, visit us online at RaceweekIllustrated.com. Our lead story, Lavonia Speedway in Lavonia, Georgia played host to the lightning-fast USCS Sprint Cars on Friday, with the action getting hot and fast early on at the North Georgia Speedway. It was a hot night of racing at Lavonia Speedway, and it was made hotter with the presence of the USCS 360 winged sprint cars at the 3/8 mile speed plant. 12 winged sprint cars were on the grounds for the event, which started off with the traditional 4-wide salute lap for the fans. When the green flag flew, it was Tim Crawley in the number 88 powering his way out front, with Eric Riggins Jr. and Derek Hagar in pursuit. Riggins was working hard to catch Crawley, and coming out of turn 4, his car gets out from under him and pops a wheelie in front of oncoming traffic. Everybody misses him, but Terry Gray goes around in the process. Everybody's okay and able to continue. Since the field did not complete a lap, it's a complete restart, with Riggins moving back to his original starting spot. On the green, Crawley moves back out front, with Riggins and Hagar giving chase. The caution flies again when Augusta, Georgia's Jay Dunham gets into the turn 4 wall. He's okay, but his car is heavily damaged, and he's done for the night. Back under green, Crawley again moves away into the top spot, with Riggins and Hagar behind. Hagar had a strong car all night, and he wanted the second position. He would work on Riggins for several laps before finally making the move off turn 2. Meanwhile, behind the leaders, Gray is making up for lost time from that early spin as he moves to 4th. As the laps wound down, Crawley began to see his commanding lead shrink as Hagar was charging hard, looking to challenge for the win. But he didn't have the time he needed as Tim Crawley streaked under the checkers to score the victory. Hagar comes home in 2nd, with Riggins Jr. in 3rd, Gray in 4th, and Matt Kurtz in 5th. Let's hear from the winner.
Like you just had this thing on a rail. Tell me about that win.
You know, starting position was going to be everything tonight. You know, the front 2 or 3 rows all had fast cars in it, and luckily they drew a 0. We were the high point car and kept us on the pole. And like I say, starting position was going to mean everything tonight. You know, because there's 2 or 3 of us here that were very capable of winning. But car was nice. You know, it would just about drive itself, and we rolled around there. Lap traffic never was really an issue, and got her done. I was just trying to drive my own race. You know, I didn't know where he was, but I didn't ever really hear him, so I just kind of had it on cruise. But, you know, Derek's fast. You can't ever rule him out.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Up next were the 600 sprints, where Columbus, Mississippi's Bobby Zions jumped out to the early lead, with Atlanta's Matt McCullough moving to 2nd, and Alpharetta's Bob Trapino in 3rd. Mike Magic of Winder, Georgia, wanted a piece of the front, and he went to work on McCullough in turn 3. Give Magic the spot. Near disaster here in turn 4 as Tyler Price slows suddenly in front of McCullough and Ron Bishop. They have to take evasive action, and that allows Bishop to get the position. The caution would fly when Price came to a stop on the front stretch. Back under green, Zions charges back to the top spot, with Magic and Bishop giving chase. Magic and Bishop would work hard to try to reel in the leader, but there was just no catching him as the man known as Bobby Z, Bobby Zions, scores the USCS 600 Sprints main. Back behind him, Shane Nelson tries to make the pass on McCullough coming to the checkers, but McCullough holds him off. So your final rundown, Zions with the win, Magic in 2nd, Bishop is 3rd, McCullough finishes 4th, and Nelson rounds out the top 5. On to modified streets now, where Clifton Snow jumps out to the early lead. Chris Cape in the 0 car is on the charge, and he moves from the back of the field all the way to 2nd. while Jennifer Everett settles into third. Cape wants to get out front, and he hounds Snow lap after lap. Last lap now. Off turn 4, Cape gets the run but can't get past the Snowman as Clifton Snow scores the victory. Cape is second with Everett in third. Louis Troll is the fourth. Michael Seegers rounds out the top 5. In Stock 4s, Kevin Kelly jumps out to the early lead with Shane Strickland in second and Greg Sanders in third. Kelly holds a commanding lead while the pack jockeys for position behind him. When the checkered flag finally flies, it's Kevin Kelly scoring the victory as Shane Strickland comes home in second. Greg Sanders is third, followed by Jeff Dobbs in fourth and Kevin Tullis in fifth. The limited late models had $1,000 on the line for the winner, and David McCoy wanted it. On the drop of the green, McCoy jumps out to a commanding lead with Kenny Collins moving to second and the Hog Rocket, Bubba Russell, in third. Russell is trying to make up ground. He goes to work on Collins for second, but Collins proves to be too strong for him and keeps the spot. Gus Simpson is on the charge and begins to work on Russell for third. Clayton Turner would come up to join the battle, and we soon had a 3-car fight for third. But Simpson would see his night come to an end as he had a fire underneath his car, bringing out the caution. Simpson drives the burning car to the back pit entrance where track officials quickly extinguish the blaze. Simpson is okay, but his night is over. Back under green, McCoy jumps back out front with Collins and Russell in tow. Turner wants third, and he begins a battle with Russell for the position over several laps. Russell is able to keep him at bay. Up front, there's no challenge to be had as the bad boy, David McCoy, scores another limited late model feature win and pockets $1,000 for his night's work. Collins finishes in second. Russell hangs on to third with Turner in fourth and Justin Sims in fifth. Up next were the beginner 4s, where Mason Tucker jumped out to the early lead with Daniel Reynolds and Whitney Sanders giving chase. While Tucker and Reynolds move away, Sanders begins to fade as Adam Partain and Mitchell Ledford work their way past him. Up front, it's all Mason Tucker as he waves to the crowd as he races under the checkered flag for the victory. Reynolds finishes in second with Partain third, Ledford fourth, and Sanders in fifth. The front-wheel drive feature started out with 3-wide action, with drivers jockeying for position as the field funnels down into turns 1 and 2. Robbie Cook had an early issue opening the door for Patch Anthony to move up to the top spot, with Aaron Limbaugh in second. Cook slows to a stop in turn 3. That draws the race's first caution. On the restart, Anthony goes back to the lead with Limbaugh in second and Jackie Holden in third. Limbaugh and Holden go at it for the second spot, getting together at one point on the front stretch, but both were able to hang on to their cars. While they slugged it out, Anthony moves away for the victory. Limbaugh finishes in second with Holden in third, J.B. Moser in fourth, while Robbie Cook recovered from that early problem to come home in fifth. We've got to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll head to Greenville Pickens Speedway in Easley, South Carolina for weekly racing action. You're watching Raceweek Illustrated Garage Talk. We'll be right back. For 30 years, the best of the best racers in the country have traveled to Jefferson, Georgia to fight for the title King of the Short Tracks. The fight continues at Gresham Motorsports Park as Slack Auto Parts presents the 30th annual World Crown 300 on July 4th. The fireworks will shine bright on the high-banked half-mile as Dawsonville, Georgia's Chase Elliott looks to defend his crown against fast aces like Bubba Pollard, Augie Grill, Daniel Hemrick, T.J. Reed, Spencer Davis, and more. And when the action is over on the track, things will get hot overhead with a huge fireworks display sponsored by Royal Oak. Get $5 off with a discount coupon available at Slack's Auto Parts. Active and retired military and their families get in free with a military ID while supplies last, courtesy of Kipper Tools. Tickets are $30 for adults, $25 for seniors, kids 12 and under free. Go to racegmp.com for more information. Come see a king crowned at the Slack Auto Parts World Crown 300, July 4th at Gresham Motorsports Park in Jefferson, Georgia, the king of the short tracks.